What are the key components of an effective social media strategy? I'm Dr. Michael Lee, and welcome to this month of all about marketing and really getting to help more people around the world, particularly the people that you want to serve. So if you're checking in today and you're here watching either Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, or even YouTube, just put live if you're watching it live. If you're watching a replay, put a replay just so I know that who I'm checking in with. But wherever you are around the world, because I know that so many of you check in from Asia, America, Europe, even Oceania, everyone, you're all from different corners of the globe. And I want to thank every one of you for spending this, well, it's my Friday afternoon, but wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening for you, thank you for being here today. So you're probably actually thinking, what am I going to be talking about when it comes down to the components for an effective social media strategy? But before I actually do that, I just want to tell you about actually what tends to happen when people don't really have these components and they just go off on social media not really knowing what they're doing, why they're doing it, or even how to do it either. So the problem is that when people don't have a strategy, I call this chaos, or some people even call it gambling. I'm just going to hit and hope and see what happens. Let's see if some people come and follow me. Let's see if some people don't. But ultimately, what happens is it uses a lot of time, resources, and energy. Because if you have to show up and actually do lives like this, you better make sure it's reaching a lot of people. But more importantly, if you're going to be doing lots of social media posts, if you can get a team to do it, because you, in your expertise, you want to be focusing on the things that you're good at or that has more value. Because don't get me wrong, there's lots of people out there that can do social media posting. They can do the replying for you. I'll be honest with you. I mean, on our social media, I do get all of the posts. I do get all of the messages. But do I respond to all of them? Of course I don't. And I have to be very honest with you here, because if I responded to all of them, I won't have time to do anything. This is why my team responds on my behalf. But if there's something very specific, of course, they'll ask me. And I do my very best to help, of course. So this is the thing, that when people actually don't have these systems, yes, it's going to drain the life out of them. Because just think about this entire world now revolves around social media. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you have YouTube. You have all these different things that people are always on, trying to connect, trying to learn, trying to see what's going on, or even trying to sell, right? And yes, although these are called platforms, a lot of people don't really understand how to use these platforms to grow. So they actually just stay kind of low and not really grow, and they're kind of using a lot of time, but not really growing or reaching a lot of people. So this is what's really important is, yes, first thing is that, number one, this is the first component of a strategy. You need to know your niche and you need to know your audience, because you cannot be an expert or a specialist of everything. Let's be real here. You cannot be an expert or specialist at everything. So you must make sure that you know who your audience is and what your niche is. And what I'm talking about when it comes down to audiences and niches, you want to make sure that they're really honed down, because if you have already been, say, a business or you've been doing coaching, you probably know who your ideal customer is. And I want you to start thinking about who that is. It might be a lady called Jane. She may be in her 40s. She may be married. She may have a managerial job, but she wants to get out of the managerial job, but she has interest in sports, and she's got a certain income. Because if you have all of that information, then you're refining your target audience. Because once you get so specific, then you're going to be speaking their language. Right? Because you must speak their language. Because if you're just like throwing out a load of stuff that isn't really relatable to one particular type of person, you don't actually look like a specialist at all. You don't even position yourself as an expert at all. So this is why I would like every one of you to pick your niche and then have a detailed rundown of what your audience looks like. Because once you've got that, by the way, then you probably know what your business is and what problem you are there to solve. Because the next thing is, of course, looking for a problem. Because a lot of people spend all this time looking for, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I could have this solution, I could help people here. But the fact is that they haven't even looked at the problem. And more importantly, it's not just the problem, it's how deep the problem goes. The deeper the problem you can find in terms of what, not only does it how it affects the person, but how it affects their loved ones, how it affects their entire universe, how it affects the entire world itself, then you'll see, actually, this is a bigger problem than what people once thought. And once they have this sight of how big the problem is, then it's going to develop more interest of why people now need to solve this problem. Which actually leads me to the third part, is that everyone wants solutions, you know. I want a solution for this, I want a solution for that. But the fact is that whenever you're coaching, I pretty much guarantee 99% of all coaches do not do a done-for-you system. And what I mean by done for you is that if someone contacts you, say, you know, my marriage is broken down. All right, here's the system, it's done for you. No one offers that. It's usually a do it yourself. So here's the literature, here's the tools, go read it and off you go. Or done with you, that I'm going to coach you. It says, okay, have you done step 1? Have you done step 2? Have you done step 3? Step 4? And then the coach knows that they have gone through all the necessary steps to then get the outcome. So what I want you to reflect upon now is, do you have that system? Because if you don't have that system, you also don't have a business. You also don't have different levels of sales, and also you don't have different levels of, I would say, closeness or connection with you. Because I would say the very bottom level, these are the people that, oh yeah, they may have saw an ad on you and say, oh yeah, I really like their PDF, I really want to know that. But they never went any further than that. That's just level 1. Level 2 is, actually, do you know that Dr. Michael Lee? I really relate with him, and I really get him because he's just like me. Then you go into level 2 because now there is a connection, and once there's a connection, then of course there's level 3 that they become into the inner circle. The inner circle, it's not just that there's a connection anymore. They actually get to know each other on a deeper level. Because once you know people on a deeper level and it's more data, guess what happens as a coach? You can then help them at a deeper level too. Without actually getting that depth, it's actually impossible to actually help them to that depth. Coaches can only help people to whatever level they're connected to. And that's why when some people go, oh, actually, I really like that coach. I really understand what he's about, and I really understand what he can serve and what he can give. And I'm like, great, then go and get coached. Because if you're not getting coached by that person who you get and they get you, who else is going to help you? Because no one gets you to that level. And if you find that person, they will be gold dust to you. And that's why I cannot stress enough. If you find the best coaches that serve you so well, you better make sure you stick close to them. Because when you stick close to them, then it will completely unlock your world. Then you also know what your purpose is in life. Because once you know what your purpose is in life, because actually, let me just teach you before I actually tell you that. There are two most important and critical stages in someone's life. The first one is that the day they were born, and the second one is not the day that they died, but the day that they understood why they were born. And if you understood why you were born, in terms of whether it's to serve, whether it's to improve your family's life, whatever reason it may be, once you have that clarity, now it's your responsibility to go and do. And this is why when we're looking at social media now, I'm going to give you an extra one here. You have to be so clear in what your mission is. Because when people understand your mission, they'll be attracted to it because they'll think, that's my mission too. And I want to be able to do that too. And if they can relate and be aligned to that, then there's going to be a deeper connection too. So I cannot stress enough, please make sure that you know exactly what your mission is, who the ideal audience is, because you can't target everyone. What is the problem you're going to solve so you can connect with them? And then the fourth one is then create the step-by-step solution that actually will help them. Because, and I'm just going to go a bit deeper into this one just to help you, because a lot of you are thinking, but Michael, there's a lot of steps. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of steps. That's why, for example, the first 5 steps can be program 1. The next 5 steps can be program 2. The next 5 steps can be program 3. You don't need to throw all of it in one go, because what it creates is something called overwhelm. And when there's overwhelm, people feel stupid. And when people feel stupid, they'll feel, oh, actually, maybe they're not the coach for me. You want to make it so simple that not only do, for example, the first 5 steps, which I call the fundamentals, if they get that right and they build upon a really strong foundation, the other steps will actually become really easy. So don't overwhelm people, but do make sure that they understand what they need to do. Now let me just ask you a simple question now. I've given you 4 steps. Put in the chat, has it actually been simple? Have I overwhelmed you with these steps? You may actually say, yeah, these are big things to do, but at least you understand what are the steps that need to be done, because you can break them down in your own time. Because what I want you to do now is, now you understand what these steps are, just put it in the chat that, okay, this is what I need to do. So I want to check in with you. What do you need to do right now to build your effective social media strategy? It could be, I need to be more consistent. It could be, I need to hone down on the right audience. It may be, I need to make sure my problem is even more specific. Or it could be, I need to make sure that my step-by-step solution is clearer but broken down into more steps so they're not overwhelmed. But whatever it is, put it in the chat, because I want to be accountable to you, and I want you to be accountable to someone as well, to make sure you do what you say you're going to do. Because the reason why I love teaching, and a lot of people say, Michael, yeah, you're a really good teacher, and I love teaching. It's not because I get the limelight of being like on stages or being online or anything like that. That's not what I really want. The real joy of teaching is actually seeing everyone around me grow, because they're actually getting value. They're learning something to take them onto the next level. And this is what's so important to me, is that when more people are growing around me, it will make the world a better place, because it affects their families, it affects their communities, their cities, their countries, and then the world. It all started with one person. So I want to thank every one of you for joining me today, and I really hope that you found a lot of value in actually going through these components of an effective social media strategy. And if you have any questions, put it into the chat. I'm more than happy to help you. And other than that, I cannot wait to see you next week. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Friday.